Here's some of the new fencing going in. This bush was to be fenced last fall when we did the rest of the perimeter fencing, and we're fencing around the cabin so that we don't have sheep right up on the deck with us, but we will still be able to have the sheep grazing all the way around us. They'll have this whole bush. They had the one side this spring that we put a temporary electric fence down the trail, but now they'll have all of this back bush. So since this is an interior fence and not a perimeter fence, we're only going with one strand of barbed wire along the bottom. It'll be a low wire, plus Mark runs that from corner to corner to help keep our fence posts straight and in line. You can see how nice and straight it is from corner to corner when you do that, when you have a line as a guide. And then we're gonna have 3 strands of electric, because it doesn't have to be as high since it's not keeping out predators. Our perimeter fence is keeping the predators out. This is just keeping the sheep in the bush. So right up here we'll have a small gate just for driving the quad through at the back of the cabin. This is the back of the cabin. And so we can use our quad trails that we already have in this bush to access the cabin also. There's a lot of trees that have fallen on our trails. As you can see, we have a lot of blowdown. And so that'll get used in the wood stove, in the house and in the cabin. Alright, so I'm just steps from the cabin, come back through this trail, and I'm going to show you all the Saskatoons that are back here. This is growing up like incredibly. The Saskatoons are pretty much past now, but there is tons of Saskatoon bushes back here. This one is past, but you can see there are Saskatoons on there. There you go. There's more Saskatoons back here than I can pick. The foxes have been eating them, and they've been pooping on a board that is around the cabin. And we also have lots of choke cherries also. But this is just super thick. When we first moved in 11 years ago, the previous owners had a dump back here and they lit it and it all burnt. And they almost lost this whole bush. Yeah, there was ashes everywhere. So these big tall trees, that's what was here. And then all of these little poplar that you can see, that's all new growth. So everything behind me is all new growth. And then all of the bigger trees, that's what was here before. So it is super thick, and our sheep will definitely take care of that. I'm not too concerned about them thinning it out too much, because this is likely going to give us another, I would say, 15 to 20 acres of just pasture. So they won't even hardly get through it before winter time. But it'll definitely lengthen our grazing season. On the home stretch, we only have about a dozen more posts to put in for this paddock. Those little orange flags are where the posts have to go. Hey guys, so I'm gonna grab a couple posts. Mark needs about 2 more to finish up that paddock. This fence behind me is part of the fencing that we did last year. We did that last fall and Mark finished it up late November and we were able to use it for winter grazing. So I'll just show you how this is, how we did this. So since we have sheep, we went with 2 barbed wire on the bottom to keep predators out, including our own German Shepherds that we have. They do not run with our sheep. And then we went with 5 electric wires. And that's how we did our perimeter fence, and then this fence that goes around our actual yard portion so the dogs can't get in. And so this is the bush that we're fencing. The sheep don't have access to this piece. This is behind our barnyard. This is our shelter belt. But they do have access to the south pasture, which is sheep wire, which we did many years ago. So they will now have access to this whole bush. And it extends out to the north of our property, out to that corner post, and then it'll head back west and back up and around towards the cabin and then straight to the west fence. Posts are in the little Jeep. This is our farm Jeep. So this paddock was supposed to be fenced last year when we did the rest of the perimeter fencing. I'll show you some photos of where we had to fence through the slough up near the road. It's very wet, and we thought, well, we better do it last year, because we thought we're never going to get a year where it's going to be this dry that we'll ever have a chance to go through there again. Chances are we'd end up with a wet year and not be able to ever do it. Well, little did we know that we'd have another dry year this year, and chances are it could be dry for the next 5 years. So thank goodness we got that perimeter fence in. Otherwise we would have been in trouble, just like a lot of other livestock farmers. So this is going in. This will take care of our sheep for the rest of this grazing season. and it'll also make it easier so we can set up temporary paddocks or even permanent runs through our north hayfield, and it'll make it easier for our rotational grazing and regenerative grazing. Oh, molehills. Fence posts are scarce this year. I don't know if anyone else has been doing fencing. Anything under 4 to 5 inches you can't get. We had to go with the 4 to 5 inch posts this year because that's all we could get. They're heavy duty, they'll last forever, but man, 2 to 3 inch would be nice. Everything's back ordered and usually is spoken for before it ever gets to the lumberyard. This is where the cabin is, headed up the hill. And we went around the cabin since we want to be able to have the sheep graze right up against it but not have them on the deck. And then we can run temporary fencing from post to post in front, so then we can have them graze some of this hayfield with temporary paddocks. And they'll be able to go through that little gate for the quad, or else we have a gate down here that Mark's putting in. He has the posts in already. And then they can move easily from paddock to paddock just by opening a gate. Looks like I'm just in time. He has one more post left in there. All the posts are in.